Welcome to RCAM. I'm your host, Ryan, and thank you for tuning in today. So we got quite a bit to talk about. So we're going to be covering the highly anticipated return of X-Men 97, and needless to say, they go woke. We're going to talk about men who breastfeed. Sounds like a dystopian nightmare because it is. And we're also going to be talking about why the word or phrase Karen is not a racial slur. It's something I need to get off my chest. I think it's important, and I think it warrants a conversation. So, earlier this week, I saw Disney release the trailer for the upcoming return of X-Men 97. So, for those of you who are millennials, you probably grew up watching this cartoon. I know I did. I distinctly remember it being a kind of a staple of my childhood, along with Spider-Man, the Justice League, Dragon Ball Z, a whole bunch of animated cartoons. But this one is one that stands out as being memorable. And I think it's great. And when I saw the trailer, I was stoked. I watched it and I was like, this actually looks really good. But I said, I am cautiously optimistic. So let's get this trailer up. We'll play the trailer and then we'll kind of get into the nitty gritty. All right.
Watch the series finale of X-Men next Saturday morning. Check your local listings.
I'm grateful to have the chance to say goodbye. I am proud of you all, my X-Men.
Fate lies in our hands now. Now.
We have to stay vigilant. The professor entrusted us with his dream.
No matter how dark it is, we must believe in each other.
We get this done by working together as a team.
Jeez, Thub, keep buzzing in my ear.
Heads up!
To me, my X-Men. Magneto.
The last will and testament of Charles Xavier. Everything he built now belongs to me.
Check your local listings.
So the trailer is, really well done. Just them showing kind of the end scene for how they ended the original series is phenomenal. Them playing the original music really just brings you in and taps into that nostalgia. But for the untrained eye, you may have missed a couple things. So I'm gonna help unpack some of this and help you see a little bit more clearly, because you may have come away like me and been like, oh, that seems pretty innocuous. Doesn't seem like there's anything woke in there. No, you would be wrong, because they do manage to slip some woke stuff in. So Melanie Mack caught this, and I'll show you this tab. So right there, and looks possibly like, LGBTQ couple. And this screams diversity, equity, inclusion. So that's just a small little snippet. You can't really get too much more from there. But then they also included a revamping of an old character called Morph. Now, here is how they characterize Morph in the new X-Men series. This is a lighter take on a character who is non-binary and has an interesting buddy relationship with Wolverine. This character's past with Mr. Sinister, the show's villain, could also come into play. So, for those of you who may be unfamiliar with the original show, Morph was not non-binary, and I could just hear some people saying, but he transforms into other people. He's literally non-binary. No, he actually was a male. And yes, his power was that he could transform into other people, but he was still a male. The word non-binary wasn't in anybody's vocabulary. Nobody was talking about that because we all recognize that he was a he. Just like Mystique, even though she can transform into people, is still a she. She's still a woman. That's just their power. That's not actually their identity. And so they managed to take a character and turn him into something that he was originally not. And I think that is very disappointing and kind of sets the stage for how this show is ultimately going to go. And I think that we need to just, I guess, expect Disney to do this with every single IP that they get a hold of because it's inevitable. They just cannot help themselves. And I think this is going to be the least of it. I think we are always going to see, we're going to see it get much, much worse as the show kind of plays out. And there are a lot of people too saying, saying that basically X-Men is an allegory or a metaphor for, LGBTQ rights. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. Maybe the civil rights era, sure. Yeah, there were racial tensions. They play on that a little bit. And I think to make it about LGBTQ, quote unquote, rights, you actually take away from that. So I don't think they need to add LGBTQ plus to the fold to make a statement for civil rights and discrimination. I think the show did that well enough on its own without people adding or injecting more stuff into this. And I just think it's absolute madness. So Clyde writes, so the X-Men character is gay. I mean, probably non-binary, probably gay. I'm just going to assume. And even if they're not actually attracted to men, or he's not actually attracted to men, it's still just gay and lame. That's their MO, is to just turn everything gay and lame. That's just what they do. South Park hit the nail right on the head with the Cartman meme. Stick a chick in it and make it gay and lame. Yeah, that's just what they do, and they do not learn. They don't learn. They continue to hemorrhage money and they learn nothing, absolutely nothing. And all they do is alienate some of the original fans, some of the people that were actually looking forward to it. They alienate those people and then placate to really a minority and people that don't actually really care about the IP. So they spit in the face of the real fans, and then they continue to remake things in their woke image, and then it bombs because nobody wants it. We're tired of it. We're sick of it. We don't want it rammed down our throats anymore. It's enough is enough, but they're not going to learn. They aren't going to learn. They are going to keep losing money for the sake of virtue signaling. It just is what it is, and there's nothing that can be done about it. It's how it is for the company, but that will give other companies the opportunity to rise and the opportunity to capitalize on Disney's failures, and that's actually something that I'm looking forward to. Now, there's another story I want to talk about, pretty much related. So this is from The Hill, and it reads, the top streamed shows are almost all old. Why? I wonder why people want to watch old shows in reruns instead of all the new shows. Huh. Maybe it's because, we knew we know when we watch old shows that there's not some agenda to shove woke nonsense down our throats. Yeah, maybe that, but let's read. So the most streamed show last year wasn't the latest Netflix reality TV show Craze, nor was it the highly anticipated final season of Succession or the debut of The Last of Us, which was also woke. According to Nielsen, the most minutes last year, more than 57 billion, were spent watching Suits, a legal drama that premiered 12 years prior. So people are watching shows from 12 years ago. They're watching old shows. So the show, which is available to stream on Netflix and Peacock, star Meghan Markle. Yeah, and they think that she's to thank for making the show popular again. Doubtful. And now they have a list of some of the shows that are most watched. So Suits is ranking in at number 1, and it aired in 2011 to 2019. Bluey's the greatest children's show of all time, so that's not surprising. And that is a newer one, but that's a children's show, even though most adults watch it too. NCIS, Grey's Anatomy. Well, that show I feel like has always been pretty woke, honestly. Coco Melon, Big Bang Theory. So that's an older show too. Gilmore Girls. This is a show that my wife is crazy about, and I would sporadically, catch the tail end of it while she was watching it. And from what I remember, it's a pretty wholesome show, which is what people are ultimately wanting. You can watch a show and you're not going to have any agenda shoved down your neck or shoved down your throat. And I think people are wanting that. They're just tired of it. Friends, pretty much not woke. Although, some people might not like this, but I actually am far more critical of Friends than I used to be. I used to like Friends. I watch Friends all the time, but now I look back and I'm just like, yeah, they kind of like normalized sleeping around and being promiscuous. That show, it was funny, but it did normalize that. So, I do think that's an indictment on the show. But yeah, people still watch all these old shows. Heartland, which I guess is still going. Supernatural, another one that's pretty old. And yeah, it's because they're just tired of the same woke nonsense. Also, they're just tired of the same thing. Like we don't see really anything original anymore. It's the same old nonsense day in and day out. And we rarely get shows that are cutting edge. I mean, one of the truly, I guess, best shows that I've ever seen was Breaking Bad. Original, good, well done, not repetitive, not the same tired thing that we always get. It was just a phenomenal show. And it's been a really long time since I've seen a show that has grabbed my attention quite like Breaking Bad. And it's because Hollywood is devoid of any real talent when it comes to their writing. I actually, too, saw something recently where most of the people writing in Hollywood are actually female writers. I'm not saying female writers can't produce anything good or write anything good, but I am saying like maybe, it makes sense why we see social justice and wokeness kind of seeping in because females tend to be more oriented that way, and why we see less positive male representation in movies and film. Someone did a poll today on Twitter where they asked basically, when's the last time you saw a movie that positively depicted a man where they were confident and they basically had good morals and they were the leaders of their household and they had their family in order. And I cannot really think of any shows that positively portray a man. Even more modern shows that I thought of, the father ends up doing something corrupt in some sort of way. So you very rarely see this in television. Maybe The Last Man Standing is probably the only real one that I could think of, but I cannot really think of any that don't make the father an incompetent moron or the butt of a joke, or his family's in total disarray. Like I just, or he himself, maybe he's competent, maybe he's smart, but he's also does some morally questionable things, that we don't see really moral men being depicted in movies or TV anymore. And I think that's a real tragedy for our culture. Because like it or not, too, cartoons, film, television, that is in a large way what shapes people far more than what my commentary is going to do. Most kids, most teenagers, they spend their time in front of TV, and most adults spend their time watching TV and being influenced by what they see. And it's a real opportunity for Christians and believers to actually capitalize on it, because people are longing for quality stories of redemption, stories that depict strong masculine figures, stories that depict moral, virtuous women. And we don't see that. We just get the same disgusting content that's pushed out ad nauseum, and they just expect us to ingest all of it. And I frankly, I'm tired of it. I really am. I do not watch a lot of TV anymore. And if I do, I'm going to be watching reruns. I'm going to be watching older shows, because pretty much everything that you watch now is woke garbage. All right. So I want to end this with a timeline cleanser, something that we will likely never see again unless conservatives and Christians get serious about content. But I do think that it is good, and I did want to share this with you because I thought this was awesome. My buddy actually showed this to me a couple weeks ago.
All are reasons to be thankful.
What about the monastery?
A great tragedy. But it was only stone and mortar. The foundation God has built in our hearts can never be destroyed.
Man, I don't get you.
Here, I've marked a few passages you may find rewarding. Remember, Herr Logan, different eyes.
I will give thanks to you, O Lord, for though you were angry with me, your anger turned away and you comforted me. I will trust and will not be afraid.
That is awesome. I don't think we will ever really see anything like that again. You have Nightcrawler sharing the gospel with Wolverine in an animated cartoon. Like, that sounds crazy to me because it's so out of the norm. And they did it, they did it. And it's a beautiful thing. I long for stuff like this, man. I'm scared they're going to turn Nightcrawler into some, progressive Christian that, affirms LGBTQ plus lifestyles. And I think that's what they're going to do with him. And I'm waiting for that shoe to drop, but we will see. But it is encouraging to see that once upon a time ago, they actually had the gospel in cartoons, children's cartoons of all places. And I think that's amazing. Yes, just have him watch the old X-Men 97, not the new one that they're coming out with, the old one. The Cairo, I need to get my son on that show. All right, so now we are going to transition into the most disturbing story of the evening. So this sounds like a Babylon Bee headline. It just sounds made up and not real, but it is real. Trans women's milk as good as breast milk, says the NHS Trust. An NAS trust has said that breast milk produced by trans women who are born as men is as good for babies as that produced by a mother who has given birth. I don't even need to read I will read some more of this article, but I don't need to know that this is absolute nonsense. There is no way in hell that secretion that comes from a man's nipple is in any way the same as breast milk produced by an actual woman. No way. And even if it was possible to make breast milk that men could produce that was on par with what a woman could produce, it's still insane and psychotic and weird and perverse and should not be done. There is no planet where babies should be sucking on men's nipples. I cannot think of anything as disgusting as that. And to know that there are actually men who subject their kids to this is horrifying. It is child abuse to do that to a baby. But yet, you have people advocating, trying to hold up pseudoscientific studies saying that breast milk produced by quote unquote trans women is just as good. No, it's not. No, it is not. And if you are somebody that even slightly thinks that it is, and that it's that it's possibly going to be good for the baby, you need to get help. Seriously, you really do. All right. In a letter to campaigners, the University of Sussex Hospital's NHS Trust USHT said that milk produced by trans women after taking a combination of drugs is comparable to that produced following the birth of a baby. The hospital trust, which runs Royal Sussex County Hospital, Worthing Hospital, and Royal Alexandria Children's Hospital, among others, was also the first in Britain to use the term chest feeding. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Chest feeding. Wow. Instead of acknowledging, the reality that, women have breasts and, we could just, say breastfeeding like we have all of human existence. No, we need to be inclusive. We need to accommodate these perverts who want to pretend that they can actually breastfeed their child, and it is sick. So yeah, in place of breastfeeding, because it is considered by some to be more inclusive. By some, as in nobody approves of this. Not even Anna Kasparian, who's a progressive, by the way, agrees with this term. She finds it offensive. And she is as progressive as they come. Within its guidance were assertions about the ability of trans women to produce milk for a baby, milk-producing glands. These were the subject of a complaint last year by the Children of Transitioners. The organization was founded by a woman whose father transitioned in an effort to provide advice for children in similar situations. In August 2023, response, the hospital defended its claims, referring to 5 scientific papers dating back to 1997 and pointing to the WHO guidance and overwhelming evidence that human milk is better for a baby than formula milk. Well, yes, but human milk that comes from a woman. It also references a 2022 study which found milk testosterone concentrations were under 1% with no observable side effects in babies. The study lasted 5 months and no long-term data was obtained. What do you mean no long-term data was obtained? This is one of those things where we kind of want long-term data. We kind of need long-term data. And me personally, I don't think we should have any data on this. I don't think we should be doing it because it's insane. But if you are going to do it, yeah, this is something you want to see the long-term consequences of before you start advocating for it. Lottie Moore, the of the policy exchange, which uncovered the letter, said that the trust is unbalanced and naive in its assertions that the secretions produced by a male on hormones can nourish an infant in the way a mother's breast milk can. And they're absolutely right. It is unbalanced, naive, foolish, and pretty evil. Yet there are men that are trying to do this. And I want to maybe give you some insight as to what the motives might actually be, because it's definitely not in the interest of the baby, because this in no way, shape, or form is good for the baby. It's not good for the baby to get medically induced secretions coming from a man's chest. It's disgusting and weird, and that baby is being abused. But there's another type of abuse happening, and we're going to read an article by The Stranger, and this is a trans woman's sharing his first time breastfeeding, because this is a man. I'm gonna do my best to not use their language that's divorced from reality. My first time breastfeeding my daughter. Breastfeeding is freaky, not the sucking bit. You're reading The Stranger, so odds are you've... Oh, God, I can't read that. No, it's because when my baby attached to my breast, there was an incredible chemical cascade that ran through my entire body like lightning. Imagine that the most electric thing a partner has ever done to you, then multiply it by 10. I could feel my brain rewiring, creating pathway that would permanently connect me to my child. And yeah, I kind of got off on it. Don't judge me. I'm judging. Hardcore. This is perverted and evil and sick and pedophilic. And this is what the end goal is. These people are not doing this because of genuine compassion for children, the genuine desire to feed their baby. They're doing it to get off, and they are sexually abusing these children. That's what they're doing. That's what this is about. And any person that remotely defends this, you are defending predators. You are. And I think that more and more people are waking up to how insane this is. Transgenderism overall is losing ground. Recently, Dr. Phil appeared on Joe Rogan, totally obliterating the notion of gender affirming care and revealing it for the farce that it actually is, saying that it causes damage to children's bodies, permanent damage, and talking about how other countries are moving away from gender affirming care, which is just new speak for genital mutilation and hormone therapy, because it's not therapy, it's causing problems and irreversible damage in these kids. But this house of cards is collapsing, and we are watching it happen in real time, and we are going to see more and more of the fallout. Another thing that I do think is interesting is how we have time, people have time to focus on trying to get a man to produce breast milk, but yet there are millions of women, or don't quote me on the number, but lots of women that cannot produce breast milk for their babies. Actual real women who do have a desire to be able to breastfeed their kids because they know that breast milk is what's best for their child. Actual breast milk, not the chemical concoction made by taking hormones and other drugs. No, what their body naturally produces. They're unable to do so. And researching and investing in stuff like male breastfeeding is a slap in the face to those women. We should be figuring out ways to help them produce milk, not gender confused men who get off on little children. Sick. It's just sick. Another fallout that we're seeing, kind of related, or is related, is this story. So this is from a detransitioner named Daisy Strongen, and she writes, "If only I could somehow go back in time to 2018 and show myself these photos. These are not happy tears. This was her very first feeding, 40 minutes old. I know breastfeeding does not work for every woman, but the hopelessness of my situation is hitting me hard. I don't even have a chance to try. There is no lactation consultant, no surgery, nothing that can ever make it so my children can suck their mother's breast. There's nothing that my body can create for them. There never will be. And the worst part is, it's all my fault." And for context, she says, "I'm a female detransitioner. I used to be transgender, identifying as a man from 2015 to 2020. I had a double mastectomy or top surgery in 2018 because I believed I would commit suicide if I didn't. I do have a few screws loose, but in the past, I had a few more." How heartbreaking that the cult of transgenderism captured this woman's mind, and it led to her chopping off her own breast, and now her baby will never be able to get the milk straight from her mother, and her mother will never share that bond with her child, and she knows it. And this is the writings of somebody who seems genuinely remorseful. They recognize what they've done, and it should be a cautionary tale to anybody who is considering doing this or putting your child through this. They love to throw out there that, if we don't affirm their gender, they're going to unalive themselves. And that's total nonsense. It really, they will not. In fact, the evidence points the other way, that if they continue doing it, there'll be more, the suicide risk will increase. I just think we need to continue to be steadfast in our aversion to this and shining a light on this, sharing stories like this woman's story so that people know the reality. It's really sad to me that we're even here to begin with, because so many of us saw the writing on the wall. We knew that this is where it was leading. We knew that this was going to be the end result. But nobody wanted to listen. And we were labeled transphobes and bigots and hateful because we had enough sense and compassion to see the truth, to see where this road leads. And now we have women who have had their breasts chopped off and gender confused men trying to breastfeed babies. This was a slippery slope we warned you about. We told you guys. We told you guys. It's so frustrating. It just upsets me to no end. But I am at least encouraged that more and more prominent people are now finally speaking out against it. And hopefully in the next 5 to 10 years, it is unthinkable to do this to kids. And that we largely look back at this as like just a horrific period in American history, and use it as a cautionary tale to never make this mistake again in the future. We will see. All right, and the last story that I want to talk about. So I recently got into little Twitter conflict with somebody that I'm friendly with, kind of just debating this idea that Karen, the word Karen, calling somebody a Karen, is a racial slur. Now, before I kind of get into my explanation, I want to play a video for you. and then we will deduce together if the use of Karen is appropriate for this individual. All right. Jump this staircase. This is a pretty famous staircase, and they're trying to make this jump with their bikes. It's pretty awesome. Oh, it's not playing. Whoops. You didn't miss anything. He just fell. No, what's happening?
All right, we're leaving. We have to have one more chance, though. You don't understand.
You understand.
But you don't. No, that's not the part you don't. You get that, but
I do understand.
we've come a long way to get this. We're right here.
I'm sorry, you're not allowed.
We're right here. This build up.
Oh, man.
There's a whole film crew that will not leave the 20.
But we only.
No,
You don't
legal,
understand.
Legal ramifications.
No, there's no legal ramifications because
Yes,
we're gonna.
there is.
There's one more try and then we're out.
All right, well, you can
Hey, well, I'm about to go do it right there.
We can call the sheriff.
The
It's
police
not-
can be right there, Cohen. I'm about to go right there. Do you want to get hit or not? You can call the police.
Bodie, they're being quite belligerent.
No, you're using crazy words. We're not. He's gonna go next. He's gonna go next to it.
Right there.
He came all the way from Louisiana to do this. And
We have folks come from all over.
yes, and
Every
if you didn't roll down here right this second, we'd be done and out of here, and you wouldn't even know
Let
we're
me get
here.
one more try, and I'm going.
We're
After
leaving
this,
after this try. We're leaving.
No, I haven't.
But nobody's. That's why it's worth it.
about to try
That's
to
why
fuck
it's
it up
worth so much to us.
Will you call the sheriff, please? There's someone here threatening to move our vehicles, and they've got a whole film crew set. Doesn't get off my cart. Get off my cart. Call the sheriff, please. This person's being belligerent.
Not belligerent.
Call the sheriff.
Help me move
please.
this bitch. Help me move
Call
this
the
bitch.
sheriff, please.
Just go for it. Right next to it. You got this. She's just gonna move it back in front of it or whatever.
Come on, Grant, stay in the way. Grant, stay in the way. I'm going to the side of it.
Go to the side of it. Go to the side of it.
You have a phone. Call 911 yourself.
Get out of here. Please call the sheriff and get somebody out to the 20 right now. Get out.
Right here.
Right here. You want to stand back. You're gonna want to stand back. You're gonna want to stand back. You're gonna want to stand back. He's pedaling. He's pedaling.
That's so awesome.
What? Next to a fucking golf cart! Next to a fucking golf cart!
I apologize for the cursing. But I thought this video, this is my favorite internet video. One, because I feel connected to it because it just seems like something my friends and I would do when we were teenagers. So I thought that was awesome. And we've all dealt with somebody like that. Somebody that has total Karen energy. Now, it wouldn't have mattered if this woman was Black, Spanish, Indian, white. It wouldn't have mattered because a Karen is a type of person. It's not exclusively white women with white skin. It can be applied to anybody who is a stickler, who does strongly enforces the rules to the letter of the law and wants to make complaints to somebody's manager and is just insufferable. I have Karens all over my community. I don't even know their skin color. I just know that they annoy me because they report me to my HOA for some of the most petty reasons alive. Do you want to? Here's an example of somebody being a. Hold on, let me because I legitimately get angry over this. Hoas make me bring out a feral rage in me. So me and my wife went to this wedding. We have a long driveway, but you can only fit one car in it at a time. And my car was already parked in the driveway, and we come home after the wedding. It's late. We're tired. I'm just like, all right, hon, just park the car a little on the grass so that I can get around you in the morning. And it's fine. You know, we'll deal with it. Get up, get my car, go to work. And while I'm at work, suddenly I get a notification. And I opened my email and I see a letter from my homeowners association. And I'm getting an angry gram because my car was parked ever so slightly on the grass. My own grass. That's Karen energy. They are being Karens. They are trying to be petty little tyrants, and we know them when we see them. There are people that could suck the air out of a room, and there are people that are just hell-bent on making other people's lives as miserable as possible because they can't mind their own business. And yeah, it's a kind of person. It is a character type. It is not exclusively white women. Now, are a lot of Karens white women? Is Karen a white woman's name? Yeah, it is, but it's not exclusively for white women. It can be used and applied to any person that's acting insufferable and just being a little tyrant. So my official stance, actually, this is the truth. If any of you are in doubt, if any of you question what the truth is, this is the truth. Karen is not a racial slur. I said it. It's true. We don't need to debate it anymore. We don't need to talk about it anymore. This is reality. We know these types of people. Anybody could fit this bill. It's not exclusively racial. And that's that. So there's your education lesson on Karenology. I'm glad that I can help enlighten you. I'm glad I can provide scientific examples to my case. And I hope you leave this stream being better educated and understanding when to spot when you see them. Because you might live in an HOA, just like I do. And they might be watching you, waiting for you to park your car in your grass. Or the day you forget to take your trash can back over into your garage. Or the day your weeds grew ever so slightly out of your mulch. And these are all things that actually happened to me in my first year living here in this HOA. And it drives me insane. It really does. And I think that is going to end this stream because I am this close to going on an even longer rant about HOAs and how it's a crime against humanity to have these, and that it is literal oppression. It is slavery. I am not allowed to do what I want with my own property. All right, let me stop. All right. If you liked this stream, please go ahead and follow me and subscribe and like and do all the things. That really, it does help me out. I'm a small growing channel. I survive on likes and follows. That's what sustains me. And I'd love to hear from you guys. Sincerely, I really do. I would love to hear from you guys, not on the Karen thing because that's comprehensive and scientific, and you can't question the science. But anything else you can talk to me about, and I would love to hear your thoughts. And yeah, I appreciate you guys. Have a blessed night, and thank you for tuning in. Deuces.